driving back home. It's about 8:30 at night. Probably not going to get much done with the productivity hour. Might still try to get an hour in because it's a Friday night. But I still want to get into bed early. I still want to get up early and work out. Get right on the bike, and then really get after it tomorrow all day. I'll see how long I can keep going because I'll be inspired by the being able to work in the morning, and it's going to be cool this weekend. It's going to be 70, 71 degrees Saturday, Sunday consecutively. So I'm excited about what I can get done. Really want to hit that shop hard and get all my tools organized and get all my projects together with all the things that I need so I can just move from one project to the next. So yeah, I feel pretty good about this weekend. I think it's going to be a really big push to just get my mind off of everything else in the world and really just focus on this transformation. And God, I just want to I love it. I love feeling good at the end of the day. That's why I want to still do some of this tonight, because I know I'll feel good once I get done with it. But yeah, so anyway, I pulled my gratitude card out today, and I didn't know what it was all going to be about exactly. I knew that it had something to do with reflection and asking different questions about what are you grateful for in this situation. But I really didn't know what to expect when I pulled my first card. And the first card was beautiful. It was it had so basically it had two different meanings, two different paragraphs explaining the meanings. But essentially what it was talking about is reflect on your home, all the places that you've lived and how they've shaped you throughout your life and been your support through good or bad. And then for the meaning of it, the different portions of it, there was an inward and an outward portion. And for the inward portion, it was, your body is your home. You were born with it. You grew up with it. You live in it now. You're going to be with it in the future. You're tied to your body. No matter where you're at, your body is your home. And that was a beautiful concept. And yes, they made it much more eloquent than I just did. But then the outer one was, make a list of all the homes you've had throughout your life and reflect on those homes, each one of them. And I actually wrote the list out, and it was crazy just kind of going through the progression of the timeline of, okay, I lived here when I was growing up, and then we moved here, and then we moved back into this house, and then, so I have so many places that I've lived. It was wild. I mean, lived in, obviously grew up in Valentine, lived in the state of Washington, moved back to Nebraska, was in and out of houses in Iowa with my dad just during the summer, so I didn't really count the Iowa houses, but he progressively moved east back towards Illinois, and then when I graduated high school, I moved in with my dad in Illinois. I moved out into a girlfriend's house from his house. I just kind of abruptly left, and that sparked a year of me and my dad not talking. And that was stupid of me to do, but I just was I was ready to spread my wings and be free and on my own. And then I got a place in Springfield with that girl, and then I broke up with her and I gave her the apartment, and I moved in with another roommate, and that didn't work out because, it just didn't work out. And I was able to talk the landlord out of letting us out of the lease because he saw what the problem was going to be as well. And then I moved in my own place in Springfield, and then that's when I had a giant fiasco in my life, and I left Springfield abruptly and moved up to Michigan, up to Lansing, Michigan. And then I moved to Carbondale, finished out college. Then I moved to St. Louis and lived a lot of nightclubs and rave events, and just, it just got old. I grew up, but I hadn't realized it yet. And then a friend of mine who I went to college with lived in Paducah, Kansas, and he asked if I wanted to go move to Colorado with him because we had been roommates in college at one point. And so I went and stayed in Paducah for a little while, and then moved to Colorado Springs. We had this apartment in the ghetto. It was me, him, and his girlfriend. And that lasted a while, and then I moved to Manitou Springs at that point. I lived in this little house on the side of a hill. God, it was like I swear, I always joked that it used to be a chicken coop. It was so small. It was like one living room size room on the top. It was built on the side of a really steep slope. So you'd enter into the top roof, and then the house went down the slope. So the downstairs was on the bottom side of the slope of the hill. It was right underneath the Manitou Incline. But anyway, it had this tiny, probably, I don't know, 30 by 20 foot room at the top, and a 20 by 30 foot room in the bottom. And in the top, there was a little divider, but no door, and then the stairwell that went down to the bottom of the house. And at the bottom of the house, you would come out, and there would be this little tiny one-ass kitchen, and then a little tiny one-ass bathroom with, I think, just a stand-up shower, and then a little closet. Like, it was so small. But it was really cool, because there was this pathway that went down the side of the house and went all the way down the hill, and you could just walk down that path and then walk down to Manitou Springs, like the downtown bar area. And so that was a fun little house to live in, and I lived there for a while, but I got burnt out living there too, and I got an opportunity to move to Breckenridge and live in a resort and work for a winter, and that job just never panned out. And when that didn't pan out, I didn't know where to go, and a friend of mine from Denver said, "Come move with me. I need a roommate." And so that just worked out. Like, I wouldn't know what I would have done. I would have left Colorado altogether had that not happened. I was in desperation mode. Lived with him for a while, and that was a good time. That was a fun time. We did a lot of 14ers together, hiked 14ers in Colorado, and that was my home base for hiking most of my 14ers in Colorado. And then I got an apartment after that, and that was in Federal Heights, so just north of Denver. Like, it was considered Denver, but it's like the northern part of Denver. And or no, Federal Heights is where I was living with Joel. So I went up to Thornton. I think I was in Thornton, which is another, just further north. So I just kind of progressively moved north from that point. But I got a little apartment. It was in the shitty meth fucking district. Like, I had no idea what I was getting into, and I was so glad to get out of that. I lived in that little place for a couple of years, and I was so happy to leave. Like, it was bad. And then, God, I moved, into a nicer apartment that was a little further north than there, and I lived at that place for like a year and a half, and then I lost my job, moved in with my girlfriend's parents, which was embarrassing, but that didn't last too long. Moved, finally got a job, and was able to get a place in Johnstown, so that was a relief. But then it was just like, even in Johnstown, even further north, I had a one-bedroom apartment. I was paying $1,400 a month, driving 30 miles to work and back, and just didn't have any money. Like, I just didn't have any leftover money because it was so expensive, and I knew it was going to get even more expensive. So I just kind of took this leap and moved back to Valentine after accepting a job as a dispatcher. And I think I only got hired on for $12 an hour, but I was able to rent a 3-bedroom house for $500 a month. So it ended up being that I had more take-home money living in Valentine than I did in Colorado. So it ended up being a really good choice. But that job was super stressful. My God, that was really stressful. So I was looking for anything, and I found the job that I have now working for the government. I won't say because I'm still employed there. But that job was great. You know, starting out, it's just as stressful, but in a different way. And I worked dispatch and that job. So I was working 7 days a week, 64 hours a week. So I would do 24 hours of dispatch, 2 12-hour shifts for Saturday, Sunday, and then I'd be working an 8 to 5 job Monday through Friday. And I did that for like a year and a half. And I made some really, really good money doing that. But it was killing me. Like, just never having a day off. I mean, it kept me honest, and it kept me in line for the most part. I wasn't drinking much at all at that point because I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't keep up with how I used to drink. So, and then I got promoted to a supervisor where I'm at, and I was like, I can't do like a supervisor's duty and do the dispatch. It's just too much. It's just way too much. So I was able to go ahead and just get rid of the dispatch job and just stick with one. And then I ended up moving to Cody and buying a house. I mean, a dream I've had forever is just buying a house and be able to plant my roots, and then I can't tell you how many years I've dreamed of having a house and being able to customize it to my own liking and do the yard my own liking and build a fence and just build things for the yard and just really invest in that being home. And so I mean, when I had this opportunity, I had to jump on it. It's a beautiful house and it's a beautiful community, and so now I'm just trying to snap out of it. I'm trying to snap out of it and realize that the dreams come true, and I need to, one, be super happy that it's happening to me, but two, just look on the bright side and look at all the things that I can get done, and I'm living my dream right now, and to stop stressing about everything else and focus on the dream and continue to build it and customize it the way I want to. And that should make me happy, and I should be happy when I'm at work. I should be happy when I'm talking to people. I should be happy in every situation of my life, because right now I should be living my dream. And so I'm trying to realize that. I'm trying to wake up to it. And again, that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to really just reset my thinking and my motivation and just my outlook on life in general. I just want to reset and go. It makes me happy. These last 2 days that I've been just going, go when I get home and getting things done. I go to bed and sleep sound, and I get up in the morning feeling great. And so I just want to continue doing that. I want to continue doing that every day. So that's my history of my homes, which is crazy. I forgot that the first house I lived in was a trailer house, out in Merriman, I think. It was on a pig farm. I don't know where the pig farm was. The pig farm was probably in Gordon. But we lived there until I was 1, maybe. And then we moved to Valentine, and then, grew up on 2nd Street in Valentine, which is crazy because my current girlfriend lives 3 houses away from the house that I grew up in. It's just wild to me. So anyway, that's it. That's all. I'm going to leave it at that tonight because I gave too many details about myself, but